Serious, people who fix computers for a living, what was the weirdest/scariest thing you've seen on somebody's computer? Attention! Serious, tag notice, jokes, puns, and off-topic comments are not permitted. https://www.reddit.com/r/wiki/index#wiki_rule_6, in any comment, parent or child. Parent comments that aren't from the target group will be removed, along with their child replies. Report comments that violate these rules. Posts that have few relevant answers within the first hour, and posts that are not appropriate for the serious tag will be removed. Consider doing an AMA request instead. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please, contact the moderators of this subreddit/message/compose/?2=r/askreddit, if you have any questions or concerns. I wouldn't consider porn a weird find, but yay. Worst thing I had to repair was a computer with a spill accident. The explanation was they spilled a beer on the laptop. The only detail missing was that the beer was already consumed. Damn, that thing reeked like hell. When I was little, I used a program that found every image on your computer. Ended up finding a file of a small boy with a knife to his genitalia on a family friend's computer. I showed my mom, but I'm not sure she ever inquired about it. You should follow up. Depending on your age at the time, she may have just not believed you. Hey, whatever happened with X over that picture with a knife to some kid's junk? In the late 90s I worked for a place that would refurbish computers and sell them to South America. One day a customer called and started screaming about our garbage that doesn't work. It is shipped back, and when we opened it up we could smell the smoke from whatever happened. Turns out a 3-inch bug had crawled in and got fried. It was still in there, nice and crispy. The bug was just helping the blue smoke get free. Once the blue smoke leaves, the computer is dead. A cop's laptop filled with porn of him and his wife, in a folder right on the desktop. He wanted us to see it. Nasty fucker. We repaired the laptop, didn't say a word. However, the owner asked my convicted sex offender coworker to back up any pictures to the company server. I quit soon after. Probably illegal. Guy couldn't get the internet to work. The whole machine was encrypted like hell, way OTT for just casually having some privacy measures. Almost every app was a VPN, Tor or privacy app. So much stuff it didn't even function anymore due to the conflicts in routing. No idea what he was hiding or who he was hiding it from. The usual stupid stuff. Found someone's credit card details on their broken phone once. I used to work for a small ISP where the owner would do PC repair on the side. A guy brought in his CPU because it was acting funny. He had bypassed the internal battery and was running the thing on a truly impressive rig of D-cell batteries. That's actually pretty impressive. Multiple times customers left webcam videos of themselves jerking off that would autoplay after logging into their account. Then when you told them the computer was done, they'd mention having forgotten to turn it off and ask what you thought or something like that. We always denied them the satisfaction and just said we saw a lot of stuff on computers and had just closed it right away. Honestly, the weirdest part of this story to me is that they could figure out how to make a video autoplay. Creepers really are advanced users. I used to have a small IT company on the side where I did network design, admin for several small businesses, and also fixed people's home computers as well for extra money. One thing I never, ever did was go through a client's files. Not only is that unethical, but their files are none of my business. I would simply use a script to copy everything off to my server as a backup, do whatever repairs or installation that I needed to do, and then copy everything back. In a previous life, I was a tech for a small consulting company. One of their clients was a factory that made bolts for some car companies. It's a smaller factory, so they had maybe 6 PCs out on the floor. Once a year, 2 of us would get the privilege of cleaning dust and whatever else out of the PCs, servers and networking gear. The first time I cleaned them out, I found that one PC had about half an inch of floor wax gluing it down. I had to get a hammer and screwdriver to chisel it out. I grabbed another PC and immediately noticed something didn't feel right. It felt like something was sloshing around. So I took it outside, opened it up, and there was about 1/4 of oil in the bottom of the case. Whatever happened to get the oil in that PC happened a while before I got to it. The case was fairly clean on the outside, as much as a factory PC could be anyway. So they gave me an oil waste bucket, and after a good cleaning it worked fine. I'm still amazed at how beat up those PCs were, yet still ran. One got smoked by a forklift but only pierced the case somehow. So strange. I went to a guy's house because he said his computer was smoking. So I opening it up and saw there were a ton of beans in his computer. It appeared that the beans fried his motherboard, so that's what I told him. He then pointed at the beans asking if they were the motherboards. I retired after that. Original video, https://www.youtube.com/watch. V equals 4HHPK8XC75A. I seen a video of people doing this to prank the repairman. You sure you are not just quoting this, or has it happened multiple times? In the video they asked if it was the motherboard as well. Edit. I found the video https://youtube.b/4HHPK8XC75A. I'm far from a PC fixer, but I was helping a friend with his laptop. He went away to eat something and he got an email from a woman sending nudes who was probably in her 30s and he is 15. He came in while I was still staring at the screen. Later another message from the same address said, "Sorry, wrong Gmail." I once had my computer fixed. At the time I was writing fiction. One story was about falling in love in the time of algorithms. When I got my computer back, there were these amazing graphs of varied algorithms open on my desktop. They were amazingly detailed and beautiful. I never called to find out who or why they were there. I was doing tech support for a high-speed internet company and I had to do a remote connection to help a customer set up his email settings for Outlook. As soon as his desktop popped up on my screen, I couldn't help but be very aware of his desktop picture, which was of a rather beefy-looking completely nude red-headed man splayed out. I quickly opened Outlook to cover his desktop image, and proceeded to set it up for him. At the end of the call I asked the customer if there was anything else I could help him with. He asked if I was a redhead by chance. I replied, "No sir, I'm actually bald, thank you for calling tech support today," and hung up. I used to work with a wealthy clientele. As a general rule, they were fairly normal people, if a bit out of touch. Sometimes, you come across some pretty severe levels of superiority and entitlement. I once had a client insist on showing me this new site he discovered, early mid-2000s, beautifulagony.com. It's creepy on a level that I can't quite explain to have a relative stranger show off their personal kink to a stranger within an hour of meeting them. I'm not looking that up. Not that it's an appropriate thing for a client to be sharing, but I looked it up and that site is pretty tame from what I can tell. There is no violence or even nudity, just videos of people's faces, from the neck/upper chest up. When starting out in IT, I worked for Geek Squad. I think the weirdest thing I found was a folder on the desktop of a computer labeled cow porn. The folder was filled with multiple images of a dick and cow's anus. I don't know if it was homemade or downloaded from somewhere, but after 3 years of repairing computers, that's been the worst. Edit, a Redditor informed me that I was missing an apostrophe. I am terribly sorry for the heartache I have caused. It starts W dropped apostrophe, then no periods, then running and sentences, and then before you know it we're you grunting and howling at each other like animals. A gecko skeleton wedged in a CPU fan. It was overheating for some reason. Lack of car insurance. In just 15 minutes, he saved 15 degrees on his CPU temperature. Removed. Child porn, phoned the police and they arrested the guy. Guy with a male foot and shoe fetish. Elderly gent who like having his balls smacked with a paddle. There was this PC that went in for some generic fixes. The user was a normal middle-aged man that seemed pretty chill and all of that. We casually found that this man, every day, for 2 to 3 hours a day, has been watching videos online of people molested, tortured, raped or mutilated, for years. We seriously discussed with the boss if we should have informed the police, but we choose not, because it's not a crime watching some videos even if we were all pretty disturbed by this, and of course we shouldn't have known about that. Greg. This is repulsive. You're lucky we didn't call the police. And you're also lucky you didn't lose your job. We want to give you another chance at keeping your career as a kindergarten teacher. He probably was already retired because he was on that stuff, and porn stuff, like more than half of the day. Every day. I did data recovery for a guy who had a very specific porn fetish that he was not at all shy about. In fact, he said that the porn was all he wanted me to recover. What was it, you ask? Big-titted MILFs dressed in World War II era Germanic cloths having car troubles in 50s 70s vintage cars. Mostly just videos of women's tits jiggling while pressing the gas. Like 50 videos of that exact scenario. I couldn't even make this shit up. I don't, yeah? There you go. Wow, that's so specific. No wonder that's all he wanted you to recover. Probably took him a while to build the collection, lol. That is specific enough that he probably had to commission some of them. From when I was in the military, I got called into a higher UPS office cause he was having issues. I'm clicking around on his desktop when I notice a folder labeled as rape videos me, MSGT. WTF is this? MSGT, oh that's for the SAP sexual assault prevention, classes next week. Me. Can you name it something happier? I feel as if this will be flagged by YAR, Information Assurance/Security. MSGT, yeah? I see your point there, Corporal Nom. MSGT is Master Sergeant Corporal is Corporal, just in case someone is having trouble reading this as I did. I used to work as a fire dog tech at Circuit City before they went out of business. Found CP, child porn, on a customer machine that was brought in to have some more RAM installed. Ended up contacting the FBI, and they sent an agent to our store to verify everything. He took the machine and brought it into a back office for several hours, going through the entire hard drive. The door was locked and guarded by other agents while this one agent went through whatever god-awful procedure he needed to go through, looking at all of the photos. We called the customer back and let them know their machine was ready for pickup, and had the feds waiting there to arrest him. Never got any follow-up. You should be proud for what you did. You might very well have saved a child from actually being abused. Your karma gets a +1,000. Me. Was PC of a guy that I don't know. I found pics of me, then pics of few other people. I initially thought I got a fan, then that I'm fixing a hitman's PC, and then just wiped myself out and handed him his PC back. Edit, a friend that recommended him to me actually gave him my identity to impersonate me on back then Google Classroom. Luckily, no harm was done. I've found actual insects inside a few laptops. I recently installed a new battery on my 2015 MacBook Pro. Man, was it dirty in there. Mostly crumbs and dust. The battery got so bloated it popped one of the screws. One day I was like, oh hey, that's right, I forgot about this. I'm literally sitting next to a bomb every day, let me tell you. The amount of glue on the stock battery is insane. I destroyed an old credit card peeling that shit off. It took me about 2.5 hours of twisting and pressing on a laptop battery so swollen it wouldn't fit in the case. God, those swelling batteries worry me so much. We've had some swell enough to break a trackpad. I used to work for a company that did sewer inspection software sales and support, and from time to time we'd have a client pay up to have us fix a computer. One guy just dropped his in a box, filled the space with packing peanuts, and sent it. I spent a good while plucking smushed styrofoam out of the power supply before I was prepared to plug that thing in. Another issue is that many computers would come back with this tacky orange dust all on the inside. No, not rust. See, These machines would sit in a truck that also contained all manner of hardware that gets lowered into sewer pipes. Yeah, poo dust. We'd basically wipe them down as well as we could with isopropyl alcohol and then turn them on before we left for the day so as much of the material as possible could burn off while no one was physically present. On the software side of things, I once had a client call in with a machine running stupid slow. I fire up Task Manager and see that half his CPU time was being chewed up by a VM. Weird. Some further digging and I can see that this VM is chatting really heavy with a server somewhere. I do some searching on this server and it's one of those Bitcoin mining share servers. So yeah, HomeSlice had a concealed VM on his system to mine for Bitcoin. No way this was the operator. I doubt he'd ever heard of Bitcoin, but I have my suspicions about their IT department. I fell once for a Bitcoin mining virus, but it used 99% of my CPU. I was a fool to fall for that but was still a kid. Gladly managed to get rid of it without formatting with safe mode and malware bytes. There was this really big guy at work. He was also kinda weird. One day I was working on his laptop and accidentally came across all his porn pictures, lots of boobies. I closed it out and continued like I never saw anything. When he left the company, I was given his laptop to reformat after his manager had gone through it and gotten anything she needed off. I just formatted it. I did not want to come across anything else. A few weeks late, I run into his boss. She asked me if I went through his laptop. I said no. She said on his laptop he had a lot of nude photos of himself. Also in his internet history it was full of Craigslist M4M ads. If that was not enough, a few months we learn he is arrested for selling meth. I know it takes some build up but cigarette smoke. My brother's a pack-a-day smoker and blows almost directly into his rig. It's barely 2 years old and the motherboard has already failed.